I believe in predestination, like I love to say. I met Fela at a point in time where I believe our destinies had to cross because we had a role to play. I met him specifically in 1974. I had self-taught. I didn't study art, so I used to give myself assignments. So 1974, two things happened. One, Bruce Lee's film Enter the Dragon was released, and I used to do portraits in my neighborhood. There is a bar, a liquor place. The owner commissioned me to do the poster of Bruce Lee's film Enter the Dragon, which included Bruce Lee, John Saxon, and Jim Kelly. So I did that poster painting, and he got it framed and hung in his bar. Second item, Fela released the album called Music of Fela, Rough Fight. So I got a copy. Because I self-taught, I used to give myself assignments. So I looked at the cover. Rough is a Yoruba word for mud, like swamp. So it's like a fight in the mud. And that was what the music was all about. I looked at the cover and my spirit said to me, why don't you do something, just to practice?
So you were right where you needed to be.
Yeah. So I did an illustration, Fela dancing on mud, not fighting.
Okay.
So just my own translation. So there was this journalist called Babatunde Harrison. He lives in Oakland. He's been in Oakland for like 30 years. Yeah. He's in Oakland, California. He used to work for a newspaper called The Punch in Lagos. So he used to go and drink in that drink place. He went and he saw the Bruce Lee poster. So he asked them, who did it? They said, a small boy next door. So, being a journalist, he said, I want to see the boy. So he came to see me and he wanted to see my other drawings. So I brought out my portfolio and he saw the Fela cover that I made on my own. And he said, wow. He said 2 days before that, he and Fela were discussing ideas, about cover, because Fela's music was getting more conscious. I didn't believe him sincerely because he was coming from a drink place. I thought he was drunk. And then when he was telling me, and he said he was going to bring a picture of Fela for me to do a portrait, so that would be my test, that he wants to take me to Fela. I thought it was a joke. So he brought the photograph, I did the portrait within 24 hours, and he took me to Fela.
Wow.
Yeah. And when Fela saw the portrait, he said 2 words. I've never had those words before that time. That was the first time. He loved it. He looked at it and said, wow, God damn it.
That's awesome.
So that was the beginning. About 3 weeks after, why I say about destiny and predestination, about 3 weeks after that meeting, Fela, the police attacked Fela's house and he was brutalized, he was hospitalized. It was big in the news. So I saw the journalist, I said, uncle, is Fela okay? He said, yeah, he's okay. He said, he's in the hospital. I'm going to see him after I drink. You want to come? I said, yes. So he took me. We got to the place. Fela was in the private room, had like 20 people with him, and he was talking about what he would do against the police and all that. And we managed to get close to his bed, and he looked and he saw Tunde, his friend, and he greeted him. And Tunde pointed to me, and Fela said, oh, the artist. And something just overwhelmed me. Like,
felt good, didn't
it? It was like that moment I took up the role of the artist.
Yeah, you embraced it.
Yeah, and that day I remember very clearly, like day, he was talking about he was going to fence his house with barbed wire. He said it was too easy for the police to gain access, so he had to fence it round. And he said he was going to write a song to lampoon the police. And a few weeks after, he composed a song called Alagmo Close. So when he finished that, now he said to me, let's see what you can do. That was the first opportunity. I was 18.
Wow.
And I did the cover and I became a star immediately, in the sense that it was the first time in Nigeria that they reviewed album cover. There was no album cover art like that before. They reviewed the music normally, but now they talked about the album cover.
So not only did music have power, but art had power too. So it could kind of cross the boundaries from those who were, I guess, euphonic listeners to those who were visual viewers.
Yeah.
So
it had a combination. My art eventually became a supplement to famous music. So like the music was on its own originally, it can stand on its own anytime. The art too can stand on its own. So it became a package and a plus for the audience. So it helped to disseminate the information more. And I didn't illustrate Fela's music literally when I illustrated. It's significant because my first attempt, I didn't illustrate the Rough Fight. I didn't illustrate fight in the mud.
Right.
I did a Fela dancing on mud.
Right.
So that's like laid the foundation for how I objectively translated Fela's music.
And my take on Fela is more romantic, and I tend to romanticize things just in general. And mine is based on like the idea that, wow, you can go through so much and you can keep getting back up and still keep going. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that
and so when I think about yours is more about, this is what I saw, this is what I heard, this is what he wanted, this is what I did.
Yeah, I played the role of the observer.
Right, you were the non-objective observer, and I am the objective. I choose to, even with all fighters and things in general, like I romanticize the idea of Detroit.
Okay.
You know, most people when they say Detroit and when they hear Detroit, they think, I'm gonna die in the city. Somebody's gonna get hurt.
It's the same thing like Lagos, exactly. That's why I fell in love now. Because when people talk about Lagos or Nigeria, it's negative.
Right. The same thing with Detroit.
Scare.
Right.
Like,
it's like, do you have a gun?
Yeah.
You're not really from Detroit.
Exactly.
And I'm like, Detroit is a beautiful place. We have culture here, we have art here, we have love, we have people here, we educate our children here.
I've seen everything,
Yeah, we grow gardens, we do all these beautiful things, and we create
August,
art.
Before we came just briefly for 5 days in August to check out this place. Ricky Sten, you met Ricky Sten, Fela's former international manager. Both of us.
Right.
He was coming from London, I was coming from Lagos.
Right.
Everyone we told we were coming to Detroit, you know what they said?
You were here for the African World Festival.
Yes.
So what month was that? Was it in August?
August.
Yeah, so that was your first time visiting.
Okay.
What was your perception of Detroit before you came?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Everyone kept telling us,
be
Detroit,
careful.
Yeah, why are you going to Detroit? Some even said, like, you won't find any human beings. You'll find deers. You know the animal called deer? D-E-R?
Right, I look like a deer.
You know? So now, Ricky also said, that was what they were telling him. What are you going to Detroit? Detroit is dead. Then we stayed 5 days. And we left and we said, we have to come back. You know, everyone we met was so progressive, positive, with a dream. Then the final person we met on our exit from Detroit was the cab driver. Wow, that he blew our mind.
So your
we were ready to come back
person.
the next day. Because the man, he's African in America. Africa in America. You hear that?
I hear it. I hear
Africans in America.
Yeah.
So he is retired. And he said to us, he has a beautiful car, and the way he was driving, you know, very comfortable. He said he drives just 3 days a week.
He drives a metro car then.
His own.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just does that 3 days in a week. That other days he sits in his pouch and his garden. He's relaxing, enjoying his retirement. He's earning something good from his retirement. Now he said the dream that he has is to move to Africa and not come back. He wants to die in Africa. I'm telling you. He's above 60. And he said, can we suggest? Where am I from? I said, Nigeria. He said, will I suggest? I said, if I want to be very frank, I'll suggest Ghana first before Nigeria. And he said, why? Incidentally, Ricky Sten, he's a Jewish white guy.
Yeah, he lives in New York.
Yeah, he lives in London.
Okay.
Yeah, he's always in New York because of business. So Ricky is married to a Ghanaian. So Ricky said to him, yeah, let me right. I'm married to a Ghanaian. Anytime you're ready, I introduced you to my in-laws in Ghana. He said, with what you're earning, in your retirement, you will live like a king in Africa. Yeah. And we got on the plane, and we're talking about the man. We took his contact. Ricky is still in communication with him. I even took a picture of the three of us at the airport. I still have it. That was the last person we left in Detroit in August. And we said, we come back.
So that's the greatest impression?
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. So, and now I came back now. I spent 2 weeks. Everywhere I go, I see art. I see beauty. Yesterday, Rachel took me to see one woman. She blew my mind. I can't remember her name. It was from her that I learned what I just said to you. Africans in America. Fela had this song called Africa Center of the World. And in the song he said, Africans in America, Africans in Europe, Africans in Brasilia, set your minds to Africa. But you know, we keep using these erroneous terms. When I was with the woman yesterday, she grew up during the Black Panther days.
Right.
Yeah, progressive. I was talking about Sandra's influence on Fela and how Sandra helped Fela to become who he eventually became with ideological leanings. So the woman now, I said, I'm always upset when I hear us being called black, that we are the only race that allow ourselves to be called by color.
Well, you know, race is something that people made up to have boxes, you know, so that people can fit in boxes.
Yeah, but
we're all people.
Yeah, races are peoples. But, you know, they don't call the Chinese yellow. They don't call the Indians red either, and the white people don't call themselves white predominantly. But when they refer to us and we refer to them, we say black people. Nah. So I was telling the woman, and the woman now explained that it was the psychological process that during slavery,
colonization.
Colonization and all that, that at a point in time in the slave plantations, that Africans that were brought became really embarrassed to be identified as Africans.
Yeah.
Now they give them this black, and they embraced it because that acronym black gave them more secure, confidence in this environment. And now she said it's even wrong to call, people, Africans in America, call them African Americans.
Right.
He said we shouldn't be claiming America, that we should always know our destination is Africa, and that's our identity, that we are supposed to be Africans in America, or Africans in Europe, Africans in Paris. You understand?
Right.
So, and I said, wow. I said, I remember Peter Tosh. Peter Tosh is my reggae hero. I named my son after Peter Tosh. I met Peter Tosh twice because I believe in destiny. For me to meet Peter twice, I knew there was a reason, and we exchanged kindred spirits. Peter had a show in Canada one time. He looked in the audience and he said, I come to these places and I see brothers and sisters become Canadians. He said, learn this. If you take a banana from Jamaica and you take it to England, it is still a banana.
Exactly.
You understand? So, as long as you're a black man, irrespective of complexion, you are an African. You understand?
Yeah.
So the woman just buttressed it yesterday, and I said to Rachel, I said, wow, I learned a new thing in my life. I said, in Detroit. Now I'm going back. I just tried it on you. I told you, Africans in America.
Well, I'm always who I am. I was born here, and I'd like to take a piece of who I am and share that with other people so they know that beauty comes from here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be who I am if I wasn't from Detroit.
Yeah.
So I like to share that with
beautiful.
everyone. So.